All right. So we'll start seated, but anytime you're like, I've been sitting for a while and I don't want to, I'm going to stand. You can do that, right? You can do that. So let's begin to make circles on our hips. And at the same time, tune into your breathing. And that's not always easy to do, is it? Focusing on your breathing when you're moving. So let's move a little bit and then we'll take a pause and make sure that you've got that breathing down. But you can start by placing one hand just like right around the bottom of your rib cage and another one underneath there. So now we're in both areas. And let's come back to center. So we feel both sitting bones on the earth. Hopefully you don't feel dizzy from those circles. And take a breath in through your nose and a breath out through your nose. So we want this diaphragmatic breathing. And in order to have a diaphragmatic breath, the belly should be expanding as you breathe in through your nose. And then as you exhale, the belly should be going back down. So your hands should feel this expansion or this pushing out on the inhale, and then a little bit of softening. Now, I'm not talking about a pushing out like you're struggling, but it's happening as a consequence of breathing. It's natural. It's not forced. So breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, and notice if you feel that movement. If you don't, let's make sure we talk about that after class. We always want to stop and pause and make sure the breathing is flowing. Breathe in and breathe out. Now here comes Oscar at the door. We'll make him really want to really work at it. And come back to center. Hands on the thighs or knees, round your spine. Take your chin towards your chest. Spread your shoulder blades. You're going to feel them move apart. And then inhale, we're coming more forward on the sitting bones. Heart is rising and the sitting bones are moving back. Move them back. And then exhale and round like the cat, and inhale, lift up. Heart is opening, shoulder blades are coming together, and sitting bones are moving back. So this is what I really want to make sure we know, that this is sitting bones back like this, because that's our lordic curve and our spine wants that. And that leads right into hip openers. It sure does. All right. Come back to center and let's inhale and take both arms out to the side and wide, and then soften the shoulders. And bring the arms forward and then open them up. Let's inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Bend the elbows, inhale up, exhale, pull down, open up wide. Arms come forward, take them out, bending elbows, lifting. You might gaze up, you might not. How's your neck feeling today? Open up. This time, cross right over left, turn palms towards each other. Maybe you interlace your fingers, maybe you don't. So this isn't a measure of we're good or bad, right? And then you might move around, and if you can interlace it, do it. If not, you might be doing more of a cross here. That's a possibility too. And if your fingers do interlace, then pull your knuckles in towards you and roll them out, just for a little fun. And then unwind it. So it could look like this. Pull in without interlacing, right? Just kind of do that. And we're just moving. We're opening up the wrists. We're doing a little bit of a brain teaser because we're crossing one arm over the other. That's always good for the brain. Let's open up the arms, close them, open them, and close them. And now we're going to cross the left over the right. turn palms towards each other, maybe interlace, maybe not. Pull the fingers and the knuckles towards you and then maybe press away. And then what happens? Your arms separate and your hands separate, and that's fine. That's fine. Then pull it back in and out and away. Do that again. Pull it in and extend it away, and pull it in and extend it away. Open up the arms. Exhale, take your hands to the top of the knees or thighs, round your spine. Lift on up. Bring your hands to the top of your shoulders. Good. Let's circle the right elbow around and about. And then reverse it. And other side. A few times one way, and then just circle it around the other way. And then let's do both. I always feel like this is chicken wings here. So do both. Feels good though. And circle it the other way. Feels really nice. And then let's bring the elbows forward and then pull them back. Now you're only going to go back as far as your range of motion. Don't worry about how wide it is. It's always remember it's your range of motion. Inhale, elbows forward and take them back, and forward and take them back. And I have to show you this. Someone showed me this yesterday. I thought, oh, that's so funny. They called it moosey arms. So moose arms, and then open it up. I think that's kind of funny. So elbows forward and take it out to the side and pull the arms back. One more time. But notice how this feels, because when you take your elbows out to the side, you can feel your shoulder blades and the muscles in between them working. Open up your arms. Beautiful. Hands to your hips. Circle shoulders up and back. And what happens is they move up, back, and down. And let's lean forward. Keep the spine long. Keep your head extending from your spine, your neck spine, rather than downward. This is super duper important. Super duper duper important. And then push down through your feet and your sitting bones and rise up. Why is it important? Because the head weighs 10 to 12 pounds. And when you take it more forward like that, there's a lot of stress on the spine. Lean forward, shoulder blades on the back. You can gently pull your elbows in towards each other. Let's extend the arms back behind us. And then once again, roll the shoulders up and back. Now, take your palms upward, push down through your feet and your sitting bones, arms rise. Exhale, hands at the heart. We're going to do that a few times. Hands to the hips. Lean forward, feel your shoulder blades on your back. Extend your arms back, palms are facing each other. Notice how that feels. Now take the palms and turn them upright, thumbs away. That's external rotation. Shoulders like that a lot. Shoulders generally, unless there's been an injury or surgery or something going on, generally, shoulders like external rotation. Let's push down through the feet and the sitting bones. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands at the heart. Awesome. Bring your right forearm to the thighs and your left hand to your hip. Circle that shoulder up and back. Then take your left arm out to the side and upwards towards the sky. Breathe in. Breathe out, feel the belly tighten a little bit in that pelvic floor. That is protecting your spine. That is your core. And then we're gonna push down through our feet, rise up, arms into T. And other side. Left forearm to thigh, right hand to hip, circle the right shoulder up and back, and then extending the right arm outwards and upwards. Maybe you gaze up. And maybe you gaze down because your neck tells you to. We got to listen to our body. And now we're going to kind of do this side to side. So you're going to bring the right forearm to the thigh and the left arm outwards. You may bend your elbow and touch your fingertips to the back of your head. Bring the elbow forward, lean slightly back as you open it up. And then take a breath here. Breathe in and breathe out. Push down through your feet, rise up. Both sets of fingertips are behind your head. Let's find a side bend. We really haven't done one yet. So now we're going to tip towards our right, but we're going to imagine there's a big heavy weight on our left thigh or hip, and that way it's not lifting up. We want to make sure it stays heavy. Inhale, rise up, because otherwise it lifts up off the chair. Exhale, side bend now towards your left. Lean back into your fingertips. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breath is in. Breath is out. Come on up. Come on up. Now, take your left forearm to the thigh, right hand to your hip. Pull the belly in. That is protecting you, protecting your lower spine. Then lifting the right arm out to the side or bend the elbow, fingertips behind the head and elbow moves forward. And gently press the back of your head into your fingertips as you open up the elbow. Maybe lean a little back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breath is in and breath is out. Lifting the left. Good. Elbows forward, elbows back. Tilt down towards your right and maybe open up your arms into a T. Spread your fingers wildly. I was noticing in this cold weather how everything is stiff, right? The fingers, the hands, everything, the skin. Let's push down through our feet, rise up. Side bend now towards your left, elbows opening, maybe opening up arms. Reach long, open-hearted. Feel your shoulder blades on your back here. Let's push down, rise up, and hands to the lap. Start to open up our hips a little bit. So let's bring the feet towards each other. This is what butterfly looks like in a chair. So right now, here's a hip opener in the chair. For people who have really tight hips, this is a great option to go to. Now, another option is to put this butterfly on a second chair in front of you. You know, I've said it many times. You can bring the earth up to you. When we go down on the mat, it's hard for you to do the belly exercises, but you can use that second chair and put your butterfly on there. So here we are in butterfly pose. And then let's walk our feet out towards Zeus pose or horsey pose. And then tilt your knees back and go onto the outside of the pinky toe side of your foot. And feel that, and the knees are moving out. And now move the knees in and go towards the big toe side. Roll it back out, roll it in, and out and in. And then we can do the same thing, switching arms. Big hug one way, big hug other way. We got a lot going on here. Hugging and opening and closing in our hip area. One more, even it out. And come back to Zeus and walk your feet back towards each other. We're back to our mountain pose. And we're going to tilt our right ear down towards our right shoulder. And then I want you to look down towards your left or your right side of your body. And you're going to feel a little stretch in the back or the side of the neck. Then tilt the ear back towards the shoulder. Use your hand to help the head lift up. There you go. And other side. So you're going to tip down on the left side, then gaze down. So I'm looking either at the left breast or the left hand, and you're feeling a stretch right about here. Breathing in and breathing out. Then turn the ear slightly so it's facing the shoulder. Breathe in, breathe out, and you can use your hand to help lift the head back up. Here we go. Let's turn our head towards the right shoulder, and our eyes and are following the chin. Then inhale, come to center. Now eyes are forward, chin is forward. And then turn the eyes and the chin towards the left. Inhale, come to center. Now close your eyes. We're going to do the same thing. Inhale, take your chin towards the right, back to center, and towards the left. And inhale to center. Next hip opener, lifting the right knee up towards you. Circle the knee around and about. Now, we often do this on our back. So if we were down on the mat, there's two ways we could do this. One would be on our back, and we'd be pulling one knee in towards us and circling it around. Another way could be in table pose, and we're circling the knee around. And I will point that out when we get down there. Now we're going to open up the knee out to the right, and we're going to extend the left leg. So Warrior 2 is a hip opener. This is normally done standing or seated. It can be done on the mat, but we're not going to show that. I really like to do it against a wall. So we won't get into that one. But so this certainly can be done standing or seated. Let's open up our arms into a T. Gaze over the front fingertips. I want you to feel the sensation of the pose. Push down, push down, push down, push down through your feet. I can't tell you enough. That's helping your balance. That's helping the sensation of your feet. As you push your feet down, notice what your pelvic floor wants to do. It's pulling in and up, and you're feeling a tightening right in that belly area, which is supporting your spine. Let's exhale and tip it back. So now we're in that reverse warrior. Left arm is down, right arm is up. And then inhale back to center. And let's do that again. Back fingertips are touching the back leg. Arm is rising up, and come back to our Warrior 2. And then let's bring the forearm to the thigh and circling the arm about. The upper arm. The left arm is circling around and about. And next time we're going to bend the elbow, reach it back, and maybe take the left arm. So now we're in cactus arms. And if you so desire and it's accessible to you, you might extend both arms. Breathe in and breathe out. Breath is in. This is not easy, by the way. You might just do one arm extended, not the other. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's inhale and rise up. Hands at the heart. Now, turn your left toes outwards. We're back to that Zeus pose. Hands to the thighs. This is a hip opener. We are opening up our inner thighs. Make no mistake about it, right? If it's too much, bring the feet in a little bit. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, bring it out. If your breath stops because it's too much of a stretch, your breath is the edge detector. It told you your feet are too wide. All right, hands on the thighs. Take your sitting bones back like we do in cow pose. And you might need to walk your sitting bones back on the chair. Then hands are on your thighs. Circle the shoulders up and back. Feel your shoulder blades on your back. Now, where should your head be? We don't want it down like that. Spine is not going to be happy. Neck is not going to be happy. We want the neck extending from your heart, and we don't want it too far back because neck won't be happy. So where is your spine most happy in This is like a cobra pose, by the way. We could be on our belly doing this pose. Our feet would be closer together. Push down through your palms, rise up. We're going to do it again. We're going to round a few times this movement. I want you to pay attention to your head and your neck. And one little trick is to take the tip of your tongue and put it to the roof of your mouth. Try that now. Put it up there. That's about where it should be. When we're coming forward, you should be able to swallow fairly easily. But a lot of times what happens is this helps to engage the muscles in the neck in the most aligned ways. So try putting your tongue on the tip of the roof of your mouth. Here we go. Tongue's up there, shoulders up and back. I want you to know it's hard to talk with the tongue on the roof of your mouth, just so you know that. Shoulders are up and back, sitting bones back. Breathe in, breathe out. Now we're going to circle it around a few times. So we come back up. And then we go back in again. Circle shoulders up and back, come back up. So let it be a flowing movement. Here we go. Just like that. Forward, circle shoulders up and around. So we've got this flowing movement. Breathe in and breathe out. So you can use your hands on your thighs to push down as you rise up. And as you push down, you're going to feel the muscles in between your shoulder blades working. I love that. It's like saying, okay, the back of the body's working. And we want that. We want the back of the body to work, keeping our shoulder blades on the back. Let's inhale and lift the heels up. Exhale, lower them down. Inhale, they rise. Exhale, they lower. One more. Lift them on up. Interlace your fingers. Push your palms away. And then start to roll around on your wrists with your fingers. Heels are up. You might lower them down and then lift them up again. And exhale and lower them. And let's find warrior two on the other side before we get to standing poses. So you might shift your hips. Find your warrior two. This is a hip opener. If it's too much, bend this knee, bring it on in. No one says you have to extend this. If it's tough on your knee, you definitely should not. Bring that knee, bend it on in. Never push your body beyond its edge because it'll talk back. I think it'll win. So we don't want to do that. All right, inhale, float your arms up, relax your shoulders, gazing over your front fingertips. Imagine that you are breathing out and extending out into the space surrounding you, 6 feet in front of you and back of you, side to side, all around you. Breathe in, you get light, breathe out, tone the belly. Find a reverse warrior. By the way, does the arm have to go up for a reverse warrior? Not necessarily. Does the back arm have to go back? Not necessarily. It's a little bit of an awkward pose because it's this back bend, side bend. And then push down through the feet. Push them down. Push them down. Notice how your hips tone. Breathe in, breathe out. Really push down through your feet like you mean it. And let's find our reverse warrior. Come back up, forearm to thigh, circling the arm around and about. And around and about. And then let's bend the elbow, the upper elbow, and the lower elbow. This is a core builder. If it's too much, take one hand down or bring this hand down and extend this one out. Then you might extend from the elbows and the wrists for the arm to grow long. That's your range of motion. Breathe in, breathe out. Always listen to the body. It will tell you what your range of motion is. Breathe in, breathe out. The breath is always talking to you and the body is always talking to you. We don't always listen. We don't always want to hear. We're busy. All right, push down, rise up. Let's walk our feet back in towards each other. And we will move towards standing poses. I just want to stretch the legs out once though. So turn sideways. I'm turning sideways. You can stay exactly how you are. Extend your legs. And let's just circle the ankles around and about. Hold on to the side of the chair. And circle it the other way. One way. And then the other. And it is fun to look at your toes, but you could not look at them. You could close your eyes as you're circling and just really feel what it's like for this movement. And when we close our eyes, it brings us a little bit more inside the body. We take away that external stimulus. Now let's rise. And many of these poses can be done in your seat, as you know. I'm going to move this out of the way and turn this chair like this. And let's start in mountain pose. So you can be seated or standing for your mountain pose. Take a stance that's steady for you. And you can have the chair in front of you. You should for balance, or maybe to the side of you. You know, I keep it to the side so you can see. Now really push down through your feet like you mean it. Push down through your feet like you mean it, and try to keep the knees soft. So if the knees go back like this, we're hanging in our joints and our bones. The muscles aren't going to work, not like they were intended to. So try to keep them a little soft. You'll know if you're a hypermobile person, which I am, then we know that. You generally know that, and that's hanging in the bones, and it causes all kinds of yucky posture, kind of like this or like this. So push your feet down like you mean it. Soften the back of your knees. Let's just do a little bit of bending and straightening. That's it. And bending and straightening. And if you want to take your arms up a little bit higher, you can. So as we go down, our arms go up, and then we lower arms and our legs straighten. Breathe in and breathe out. Really feel your toe pads push down. And come back to mountain pose. So we're taking our shoulder blades on the back. Now, when you push your feet down, notice how your hips tone and your pelvic floor will tone. So that's what we want to do when we do our yoga squats, okay, which is really chair pose. You want to focus on rooting down as you come up, which is going to tone these guys. So that's working the hips. It's not opening them, but it's strengthening this area. Let's try that out. So you can have a chair in front of you. I should have my chair in front of me. And we're going to work on, as we come back up, pushing down. So here we are in mountain pose. We're going to bend our knees and sitting bones come back, right? We don't need to go any deeper than thighs parallel. No reason to do it, okay? Now, your hands can be at your hips. Your hands can be in front of you like this. That's a nice way to go too. Your hands can be like this or in prayer. Some of you might do this with weights, but we're not doing it in this class. So sitting bones are back. And then we're going to push down through our feet to rise up. I want you to feel the tone here. Feel it, feel it, feel it. Feel the muscles on your thighs activate. We're going to go again. Bending, sitting bones back, push down through your feet, push down through your toe pads, your heels, your mounds of the big toes. You're feeling your thighs engage. I know you are. They're working. Now we're going to push down, rise up. Now, just you guys who are standing, do it again, unless you're fatigued. If you're fatigued, then take a little breath break. Those of you seated, you can play with the same thing, but coming from seated to standing rather than standing to seated. So we can do the same thing, or you can have your hands here and just lift off a little bit. But make sure you keep your buttocks back. So that is one way we're going from chair up and the other way we're going from standing down. We're going to add in a little bit of heel lifts as we do this. So we're in our chair pose here or here, sitting bones back, thighs working, feet pushing down, push down, push down, push down, feel buttocks toning, and maybe lift onto your tippy toes. So tippy toes still means mounds of the feet pushing down, mounds of the feet pushing down. And we're going to exhale, lower heels down, push feet down, take sitting bones back, and you decide where your hands are going. I also love, I like arms forward too, but this can be very, very nice. And we are working, I don't know why people will call this pose nice, right? We're working it though. It's making us stronger. Stronger, sitting bones are back. Then we're going to push down, push down, push down, lift heels up. Keep shoulders over hips rather than this. Try not to do that. You can go closer into the chair, but please don't lean forward like that. Not good for your posture. And then we're going to exhale and come on down. Let's do a wall dog pose. You decide whether you're facing the back or seat of the chair. And we will bring our hands either onto the side of the chair or the seat of the chair. Bend your knees as you step back. And I will show you a variation in a moment, seated. So sitting bones back and wide and lifted, palms pushing down into chair. This is our wall dog version. We are mindful of our spine. Now, notice if your ribs are dripping down and pull them up and back and feel your strength. Now, with your feet pushing down, you can start to straighten your legs as long as you can keep that lower back curve. If your back starts to round like that, then stop. Then stop and go back to bending your knees. It's not a punishment. It's just a gift for your spine. And then you can walk back in towards your chair, return to mountain pose, take a few breaths, and go back in again. If you're seated, you could have a chair in front of you. You could have a wall in front of you. Wall dog, we're lengthening the spine, so your hands might go onto the chair. Same thing with the sitting bones. Take them back and wide. Keep that lower back curve engaged. Okay. From here, we're going to practice some balance and some hip opening. 2 in 1, 2 in 1. So here we are in mountain pose, and we're going to bend the right knee, and then we're going to take it out to the side. And this is an asymmetrical pose. Push down through the standing leg and decide your hand position. Maybe hands are on the chair in front of you. Maybe you've got your Hakini Mudra, fingertips coming together. Maybe you've got one arm up and one down. Now notice, toe pads are down here. Find a spot to gaze at. Breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. This certainly can be done seated. And then take a little break just for a moment. I'm just putting the chair here. Now we're going to do the same thing again, but we're going to turn our heads. You need to feel safe. Standing on the left leg, push it down, back of the knee is soft. Left hip, toning, toning. Now, here we go. You are going to turn your head toward, and then inhale, come to center, and gaze to the left. Now, if that was easy for you, you might take your hands up. You might take your hands to your hips or Hakini And then turn your head in this pose. Back to center and turn it. And back to center. And you might look up and you might look down. And up and down and back to center. And then bring your foot back into place. And we're going to do the other side. So here we are, hip opener, other side, then the knee open out to the side. Now you could do something like that too, because we're turning out. We're turning out. You choose your hand position as you breathe in and you practice. If this is too easy for you, you can go a little bit more. There's different ways to challenge yourself. You could bring the foot up, or you could close your eyes, but only if you feel safe and practice here, or you just practice hand positions, right? So you see me, I've got my eyes closed and I'm practicing different hand positions. You need to feel safe though. Maybe one hand is on the chair. We're progressing over time to where your level is at, nobody else's. Always feel safe. Okay, so let's play with turning our head towards the left, back to center, towards the right, back to center. Maybe this time you close your eyes as you look towards the left and center and right. So eyes open, definitely the way to go when your balance is really challenged. You start, as you practice this, you can practice it a few minutes each day. You might be able to progress to turning your head with turning your, first it just might be eyes open, straightforward. Over time, it might be turning the head and going up and going down and up and down. And the hardest one is eyes closed. So choose your practice point at this moment, and then we're on to the next. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. Let's bring the feet back down, and we're going to move towards our warrior one position, which is also very much a balance pose. This one is not considered as much of a hip opener. So right foot is forward, left back, because the hips are facing forward in this pose. Right knee is bent, left leg is back, ribs are back. But I want you to notice, push your feet down. Maybe you play with balance by lifting an arm, or maybe a hand to the hip, or both, or hands crossing in front of you, or maybe both arms up. This is your decision. Breathe in. Breathe out. Strong, strong, strong legs. Now, maybe you turn your head towards the right. Inhale back to center. Maybe you look up. That's a little bit more of a back bend. And then you're back to center. We're going to step the left foot to meet the right. So if you're seated, so those of you who are standing, you can go to the other side. And those of you who are seated, this would be a variation for you in a warrior one. Hips are forward. Same thing, you can practice your balance here by looking forward and then maybe out to the side and then back forward. You can play with different hand positions. Maybe you're pushing down, you're pushing down, you're pushing down. Now, notice how I've got my hand on the back of the chair, but one way to play with balance would be to maybe take that hand off the back if it feels safe to you. Because this is surely a balance pose. Let's not fool ourselves, even though we're on the chair. This is a balanced pose. Breathe in and breathe out. And I'll bring this leg forward. So those of you who are standing should have done the left side. That's where your left foot was forward and your right leg was back, like so. And then we're going to work now towards our wall dog. And we're going to extend a leg back for warrior three. So bending knees, sitting bones back and wide, pushing down through feet, shoulder blades on back. Maybe you shift the weight to the left foot and extend the right leg back. Maybe you lift it up. We're pushing down through that left footprint as the right leg extends back. Toes can be down, toes can be up. Now you might also be facing the seat of the chair and that might be a little bit easier. Notice if your ankle is wobbling. If it is, bring those toes down. It's okay for your ankle to wobble as long as you feel safe and can recover. And that might mean bringing your foot back down. And that's what you should do. If you're seated, you're going to bring your leg forward rather than back. So you're extending your leg forward. Let's do the other side. Knees bent, extending the left leg back. We're transferring weight. Weight is in the right foot. Maybe toes lift, maybe they don't. And we are pushing down through that standing leg. You're going to feel that right hip working when your left leg is back and perhaps upwards. Breathe in and breathe out. And breath is in and breath is out. And step it on up and come on forward towards the chair. Now I'm going to show some hip openers that can be done on the earth and try to weave in ones that can be done seated. So when you're standing and you're lowering down to the earth, remember you might want to take your blanket to come on down and put this down for your knees. So this is very important that we do this in a way that protects our spine and our knees. So we bend our knees, maybe step 1 foot forward and then lower one knee down. One knee down, and then you can bring the other one. And then you can move the chair out of the way. So first we're going to go into table and we're going to circle the leg around. So if you're seated, it's going to look like this. You're circling the knee around and about. And that's a really nice way to get the hip joint open. I'm going to put this to the side and come on down into our table pose. Palms are spreading. Hands are lively. You could put your hands on blocks or a roll mat. Knees are under hips. We're going to transfer our weight to the left side. Inhale, lift the right knee up, circle around, round and about. So you can do this seated or standing. Circling knee around and about. As you breathe in and as you breathe out. And then whether you're seated or standing, extend the leg either forward or back. If you're seated, it's forward. If you're on the earth, it's back. Push the heel away from you and then point the toes. And push the heel and point the toes. Push the heel away and point the toes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now you're going to pull the knee in towards you and then extend it back. The same thing can be done seated. You're pulling the knee in towards you and you're going to extend the leg forward in the chair. One more. Breathe in and breathe out. Now we're going to go towards more of a hip opener, and we're going to step the right foot forward. Some of you might want to use your chair or 2 blocks. So it looks like this, with 2 blocks, and you could have your hands on a chair. You're going to step the right foot forward towards outside the right hand or block or chair. And then we're going to circle the hips around here like this. So I'm going to show you seated in the chair, what I think would be a nice option for this one. You may or may not agree. But so here's our hip opener on the earth. And then we're going to take our weight forward and back. And forward and back. So the cushion under your knee is nice. Forward and back. Notice how the spine is long. It's not rounding. Forward, sitting bones back. Reach back. And forward, shoulder blades on the back. And we're keeping that spine long. Now, you guys keep doing that. When you're ready, you'll take the knee back and do the other. Well, you don't do the other side yet because we have to do that whole table pose. But here is what it would look like in the chair. You could bring your leg up towards your knee and circle around like this. And then it's kind of like happy baby. And then the foot comes up and you pull the leg towards you. This is very similar to a lunge position. So this is what it would look like. All right, back to on the earth. And we're in our table. Before we go to our, oops, gotta bring the blanket back. So don't follow the way I'm going up and down, right? Because it's kind of, you know, like I said, it's a relay here. So now we're going to do the other side. So the left side. Let's circle the left knee around and about. Circle it in. So if you're in the chair, you're still circling your left leg. And then we're going to extend back. And those of you seated are going to extend forward and pull it in and extend it back. Now notice my hands are on blocks. They didn't have to be. We could be down on the earth. Just, it's another option. Extend back, pull it in. This is like cat pose. Extend it back out. And pull it in. And extend it back out. And maybe you point and flex the foot. Breathe in. And breathe out. And breathing in and out. You're going to feel that opposite hip work. I always feel that weight bearing on the opposite side. You can always bring your toes down. Now from here, we're going to do that stepping the foot forward. I want to show it with the chair and with the blocks so you can see it. You're going to take your time. You do not have to go fast with this. In fact, you shouldn't because you want to be safe. But we can bring this knee in and step it forward. You can use your hand to bring it forward. Then you're going to do those circles like this. So first, get into the position. Don't worry about the circles because getting into the position is part of the yoga. It's the journey. It's the journey. So let's look at this with the chair. Those of you who are using the blocks. Now, some of you, by the way, don't need the blocks or the chair. Let me show you what that looks like. You bring the knee in and you step the foot forward and maybe use your hand. Okay, so some of you, it's just the way your bodies are built and you're kind of limber and it is fairly accessible for you. Those of you who'd like to use the chair, because maybe it feels more stable for you. Maybe it feels more stable. So we lower down, one knee comes down and then the other. So one way to do this would be step this foot up. Step this foot up. Now, circle around and about. This is such a nice opening here. So just want you to see that. Now, some of these poses that we do on the earth could be done with a firm mattress on a bed.
Not always, but some of them. So from here, let's go forward and back with the weight, and you can move your knee a little bit more forward or a little bit more out. That's how you make the practice your own. So we're going forward and we're going back and forward and back. You can go slow. You're going to feel more of a stretch in that back thigh. And then you can, when you move back, you might feel a little bit more of a stretch in the front, this back of this leg, back of that leg. So when you go back, you'll feel a little bit more back here. When you go forward, you're going to feel it more in the back. If you feel more in the back leg, but it depends. Some of you might feel it right here. It all depends. Okay, I'm going to bring that back and we're going to go down onto our backs and we'll do some more hip opening. I'm going to place this over here. So we're going on to our backs and we're going to start in lying down butterfly pose. So you guys know, if you want to get a second share, you could be doing butterfly with that second share. So those of you who know you're not going to go down to the earth, I highly recommend you have the second share if you want to stay and do this part of the class. So to come on down, I'm going to come on down and then go on to the back. And you want your ears to be level with your shoulders. So you might have this blanket underneath to help. You don't necessarily need it. And it just depends on the opening in your shoulders and your head. But what you're looking for, opening your shoulders and your neck, you want the forehead and the chin to be about level. So if the head is tilting back, that's when you know you need a blanket under your head a little bit. And it's usually just under the tip of the top part of your head, not the bottom. Okay, that's just a little bit about that. Always feel free to ask me more about that. Now we're going to open up our arms into butterfly. Butterfly, so the knees are arms. I said arms. Okay, it's legs. Knees opening. We're in our butterfly pose. Feel that. Let's take one hand to the belly and one just right around the top, the bottom of your ribs, the top of your abdomen, and then one lower than that. So it would be right above your navel, your belly area, your belly button. And breathe in and breathe out and breathe in and out. Now this would be a great place to stay, except I got more plans, but you could stay here. If you are ready for a rest, then take it. I'm going to cram a little bit more into our yoga practice. So we're going towards a bridge pose, but we're going to come, you'll see, we're going to lift on up to our bridge. Keep the back of your neck curved, so you don't want to feel like that neck is pushing down into your spine. Now we're up, and maybe you come to the outside of your feet, and you're a little bit more in that butterfly pose. You're going to feel a little something going on in your glutes. And then we're going to close it up and lower it down. We're going to do that a few times. Inhale, we lift, drop the buttocks slightly so that we're not thrusting the hips up. Open up your knees. You're on the outside of your feet. And then close it up, lower it down. You could do a repetition of about 5 to 10 of these. If you fatigue, stop. You don't need to push anymore. If you don't like coming to the outside of your feet, do a regular lift up and forget taking the knees out to the side. It's okay. When we open these out, it's getting a little bit more into our gluteus medius, middle area. Breathe in, a little bit deeper in. Close it up and lower it down. Let's bring the right knee in towards us. And then you're going to bend the knee towards your shoulder, which is exactly what we were doing seated when I showed that variation of lunge. And then you can gently pulse the knee towards your shoulder, just little pulses in. Now, those of you who aren't feeling anything here, you got a few choices. One is to extend that bottom leg, and that'll bring in a little bit more. The other one is to turn this knee out a little, and hold, but you want to be really careful. Flex your foot, protect your knee, little pulses with the leg turning out a little more, and you can use your hands to gently open. Gently open. I pull the skin a little bit outwards. Breathe in. Breathe out, and then let's go to number 4. So number 4 in the chair, I will show that in a minute. That's like a cornerstone foundational hip opener pose. Here's what it's like with the feet, the foot down. Here's what it's like with the foot up. This is the first step. This is a second. If you're not feeling it, you bring it on in. Notice how this is another version of it, which we were just here. So very, very close sisters in poses. Hands can be weaving inside the triangle and around the leg, or maybe you're just hugging it in, flexing your feet, flexing your feet. All right, so let me just remind you what it looks like in the chair while you're doing that. Breathe while you're in your hip openers. Breathe, 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 and more breathe, because if you're tensing up, it isn't going to help you much. So here's what it looks like in the chair. Number 4 can be here, or number 4 can be here, or somewhere in the middle where you're supporting your leg. Maybe your foot is on a few blocks here if the foot doesn't come up. On the earth, we were bringing the knees towards us. In the chair, we're bringing our torso towards the thighs, but keep that long spine. When you're on the earth, your spine's already long and it's supported. Just a gentle reminder about number 4. So those of you might move down to the other side on your back. And so we've got knee coming towards shoulder, gently pulling knee towards the shoulder. You can do little pulses. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, or you don't feel quite enough of a stretch, and extend this leg, or bring the heel a little bit more towards the right. Use your hand to gently make this adjustment. And then eventually find your way to number 4 on the earth with foot down or foot up or somewhere in between. You can make little teeny movements like little circles or a little rocking motion. That might send a message to the body to ease up, not tense out when we're doing our hip openers. Remember that diaphragmatic breathing through the nose. And then we will release and place it on down. Now, as we end our practice, you know I always like the leg stretch. So I almost, it's in almost every practice I do, because I think it's so important. If the back of your legs aren't open, it's going to be tough for your spine. If you have nice open back of the legs, then you're good to go and you can go and do a spinal twist. But if not, place a strap around the foot, and you can certainly do this seated. You're still putting the strap around the foot or interlacing your hands behind the thigh, and press up, press up. So if your leg is out here, that's stress on your spine. Rather bend your knee and only straighten to the extent that your body says, okay, I'm good here. So if this is where you are, this is where you are. But notice how the knee is over the hip. Not necessarily here, but here. And then maybe bottom leg extends. That's for those of you who are really, really stretchies. And
about 4 breaths in and 4 breaths out, so a total of 8 counts for your breath before you switch sides. Always stay longer. You can stay 3 minutes, honestly, because that's super good for you, super good for the back of your thigh. If you're tight, gives your body time to feel it and time to stretch out your muscles, your hamstrings. Breathing in, breathing out. If a little pulsing is comfortable for you and you like that more, then go for it. Bend the knee and then slowly work towards straightening, not necessarily straightening all the way. And then maybe you extend the bottom leg, push out through the ball of the big toes. You can play with pointing and flexing and pointing and flexing as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And then finding your way to your final resting posture. Since we were talking about hip openers, some of you might want to relax in lying down butterfly. Lying down butterfly, you should have probably 2 pillows or some blankets to put under your knees. I'm going to show it so you can see it, but I've got 2 blocks under my knees like this, and then we're lying down, and we might have a blanket under the head. Some of you have seen me demonstrate with a bolster before, lying down butterfly. So this is a really nice inner thigh opener, and you can change your butterfly so your feet are extended or more closer to you. Either way, if you're really open, you might not have blocks. You might have more of just a little blanket underneath your knees. But if you're really going to relax, generally something needs to be under there, unless you're one of those super duper open people that doesn't need anything under there. But that's unusual. And then this is where you're going to rest and relax. This certainly could be done in bed. Feel the impact of the pose. Stay here for your whole resting pose. Or if you have the time, I highly encourage you to stay lying down butterfly for a few minutes or however long you choose, and then find your way to a neutral shavasana that looks more like this, or bolstered under knees, just to give your body time to rejuvenate and assimilate. And that's the beauty of this practice, that we're bringing these practices into the body and then we're giving it time to absorb. Absorb all that you've done and during your self-practice for your body, your mind, your breath, your spirit. Breathing in and breathing out. So stay as long as you want in that pose, because it's your Friday. In Michigan, it's a nice snowy day. Nowhere to rush to, I hope, for you. When you do come up, I want to make sure you know how to come up, because rolling up is not necessarily good for your spine. Best to extend one arm and then roll onto it into a fetal position. And that's going to be a lot nicer for your spine. Then you use your fingertips, your strong hands, to bring you upright. And that is a much safer way for your spine to come up. And then we're in our seated position. We did not do any twisting today, believe it or not. So if you want to add in a twist, you can. You turn from your navel up,
And just a little twist as you end your practices can be very refreshing. Taking a breath or two one way and then the other. And then we bring our hands together as we bow in with gratitude for this practice. Gratitude for our time together, this opportunity to be in community with support of the Michigan Parkinson Foundation. Namaste, everybody. I'm here for